Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you an article to read. It's a good one, though. It's a victory, but a small one. But I'm sure you'll agree we'll take it. It is out of Vermont, the state of Vermont in the United States. Now, I'm not sure if you can remember, because there have been quite a lot of these situations where woke ideology butts up against reality and laws, normality, and so on and so on. And it's one of these odd situations where the wokeists, they double down, and double down. And have you ever noticed, they always have that look on their face. We saw the same thing at that school in Canada with the huge prosthetics. You know, the man who's wearing the huge prosthetics. The school principal came out to defend him. And when he was making the statement about how the school dress policy is for students only, doesn't affect the staff, you could see that look in his eyes where he knew he was talking out of his rear end. You will often see that in situations like this, where woke ideology is at a point where it just cannot double down anymore and it butts up against reality. And the leftists who are in the unenviable situation where they have to try and defend this, like the principal with the prosthetics, the giant prosthetic, you know what. They always get that look on their face, like they know they're talking bullshit, right? They know it, but they're forced through ideology, through the new woke religion, to keep going along on that trajectory. This is one of those instances. So at this high school in Vermont, there was a trans individual, a student, a boy, a male, who went into the girls' changing rooms. He said, I'm trans, I'm allowed to be here, and started just observing the girls changing out of their costumes, swimming costumes, physical exercise, you know what. And they said, look, we're not happy with this. I mean, look, we've got someone here who's just watching us change. Right, we're not tolerating this. Goes without saying that the school took the side of the male, even to the point where they demanded that the girls and one of the girls' fathers, who dared criticise it, apologise to the boy. And they said, no, look, enough. We're not. This is going too far. Which it is. So they got some media coverage thanks to like Tucker Carlson and right-wing media, thank God. And they filed a lawsuit, and only now has the school decided to back down because they've butted up against reality. Now do you see why the Democrats are also keen to change things like the First Amendment? Goes without saying, the Second Amendment, this, that, and the other. They're changing it so that law can no longer be something that their woke ideology butts up against. It's why that they're trying to change. It's why they invent phrases like social construct. Yeah, they want to find a way to get around reality itself, so that a man can be a woman, a dog can be a cat, day can be night, 2 + 2 can equal 5. Yeah. So let's get into this article. We'll get into it now. Thank you very much for watching. Oh no, sorry, that's the one at the end. If you like the video and you find it informative, by all means subscribe to the video, hit the channel even, hit the notification bell, share the video around. You can also find me on Rumble. I upload all of my videos to there as well, because I am Shadowbanned and deboosted here on YouTube. And there's also a membership scheme. You can join the channel to become a member and support my work that way if you so choose, but of course you don't have to. Okay, let's go. Okay, the article says lawyers representing Randolph Union High School in Randolph, Vermont, persuaded school officials to drop their threats of punishment upon receiving a 124-page lawsuit filed by the Alliance Defending Freedom. This is one of these good non-profits, I believe. At issue, the school's determination to force its trans policies upon a 14-year-old girl and her father for daring to question those policies. For example, complaining when a male who declares himself as a female enters the girls' locker rooms to observe them undressing. RUHS officials demanded that the student, Blake Allen, quote, take part in a restorative, I can't pronounce that word, circle, to help her understand the rights. How is that a right of yours, to go in there and observe the girls? What about their rights? You see, this is what the woke do. It's what the left do. They are very good at... They have this strange penchant for ignoring primary problems. And instead, they ignore the primary problem and they just go pedal to the metal after secondary problems. For example, here, to the woke, the problem isn't that the boy was observing the girls in the changing room. The problem is the girls criticising and having an issue with it. Yeah. So the primary problem is the boy in the girls' changing rooms, which gets ignored. The secondary problem is the girls complaining, right? And if once you understand this paradigm, you will notice it everywhere with the left. Yeah, you will notice it everywhere. It's not inflation's problem, right? The problem isn't inflation. The problem is companies selling products too high because they're like greedy capitalists, twiddling their little moustache and counting their $7,000 bills. Yeah. Okay. The primary problem is the inflation, but they ignore that. Yeah, and apply it to everything, and you'll see what I mean. So she has to sit in one of these circles where she'll be indoctrinated by political commissars and basically beaten over the head with ideology until she says what they want her to say. Yeah. These people are evil, completely evil. School officials also demanded that her father, Travis Allen, apologise for a Facebook post challenging the mother of the changeling over the veracity of a Facebook post she made defending her male. See, this is where it brings us. This is what I mean about reality butting up to the ideology. Look at how this website, which by no means is a shill, left this website, but look at how they are forced to describe the male student who was in the girls' changing rooms. Quote, she, that's this male student's mother, made statements on Facebook defending her, quote, trans male/female son/daughter. You are given no information about the human being. It could be anything, it could be anyone. Do you know what I mean? It just, there's nothing descriptive there. It's all vague. The left need things to be vague. That way they can pick the goalposts up and just move them wherever they want them to be. Yeah. So the ADF reviewed the incident. Travis Allen and his 14-year-old daughter Blake were punished for expressing their views on a matter of profound public concern, whether a teenage male who identifies as a female should be permitted to change in a girl's locker room regardless of the discomfort experienced by the girls in that room. In objecting to a male being in the room whilst the girls were changing, Travis and Blake each made comments underscoring that the trans-identifying student is in fact a male, using male pronouns. So we're just playing a game here. It's a male who uses male pronouns, hasn't transitioned or anything like that, but they're trans. So they get to go into the girls' changing rooms. Indeed, their view of the student's maleness was foundational to their opinions on appropriate use of the locker room. Yet their remarks were too much for defendants' transgender orthodox. That's what it is. It's an orthodoxy. Travis was deemed to have misgendered the student. In other words, they've what's the word in religious ideology? It's not heresy, because that would imply that they were already in lockstep with the woke ideology and then decided to walk away. It's not heresy. I don't think it's apostasy either. It's blasphemy. That's what I'm thinking of. Blasphemy. That's what it is, to misgender them. It's blasphemy. That's how they see it as blasphemy. ADF claimed that by doing so, the school's officials violated the Allens' First and 14th Amendment rights. Defendants are state actors and violate the First Amendment when they attempt to dictate what may be said on matters of public concern, and they cannot discriminate against speech on the basis of its viewpoint. Yet that is exactly what happened here. Defendants punished Travis and Blake for saying that a male is a male. Right. And this was warned about in actual, real religious texts. The end times were dictated as in a roundabout way, being something like this, yeah? When the wicked are seen as good, the good is seen as wicked, males are females, females are males, up is down, left is right, west is east. We live in an upside down. On September 21st, the male who identifies as a female entered the girls' locker rooms where the girls were changing. Many of them got upset and demanded that he leave. The parents called the principals to complain. Do you know what? It must be bad. It must be so sad as a parent. You put your faith in the school. You think that you're gonna get the principal some support from the principal, and then the principal will just immediately side with the woke ideology. That leaves parents feeling utterly powerless and upset. Yeah, and then you've got the smug leftists with their face just sitting there like, ha ha, just horrible. The principal used to be an honoured position, yeah, used to be something to look up to. Now it's just an object of mockery, and they've got themselves to blame for it. The next day, Blake expressed her thoughts on the incident to some of her classmates, exclaiming, "He's literally a dude who does not belong in the girls' locker room." That triggered school officials into conducting an investigation. They love their investigations. Remember what I said earlier about the woke religion, about blasphemy, apostasy, heresy? You know when wokeists do these trans investigations to find out who dared to say something that they disagree with? That's like the Inquisition, yeah? This is their investigation. After which it was concluded that Blake was guilty of that word there on the basis of gender identity and needed to be punished. Defendants also seek to coerce her to, this is what the non-profit continued to say. Excuse me. Defendants also seek to coerce her to agree with the transgender dogma. In addition to giving Blake 2 days out of school suspension, defendants are requiring her to take part in that circle that I told about with our equity coordinator, political commissar. This will be the bishop. This person here will take two roles. These type of people, they are both the political commissar and they're the bishop of the woke religion. That's what these people are. They're just communists mixed with the new woke religion. And at least 2 students, they will be specifically chosen. The 2 students would be specifically chosen, and so it'll always be 3 of them. It'll be the bishop and then the 2 acolytes against Blake, the girl, the 14-year-old girl, and they'll bamboozle her, threaten, intimidate until she shuts up and toes the line. That's what they do. But they word it like this, look. They're going to help her understand the rights of the students to access public accommodations. But your right to do that doesn't mean that you can go into the girls' changing room and just watch them. There's a boys' changing room. Why do all of those girls have to be made to feel uncomfortable because of you? Right, when do the trans lobby start to take other people into consideration? Because it always seems to be a one-way street. It always has to be their way, yeah? And people are sick of it. Defendants intended to render their own judgment on this reflective essay, and if they deem it lacking in good faith, in other words, if it doesn't reach the religiosity, what they want is for her to plead and beg. They want her down on her knees to prostrate herself. You notice how many religious connotations this has, yeah? Prostration started as it's a religious thing. So if it lacks in good faith, so even if she apologised and her father apologised when they didn't have to, they've done nothing wrong. Even if they did, if they went to the restorative justice thing, if they wrote the essay, if they did all of it, if the bishop, the woke bishop says, I don't think it has the correct sincerity, then it'll all be for nothing. Blake will be required to serve an additional 3 days out of school suspension. These people are simultaneously doing this whilst trying to make out that you're the bad one and they're the good ones. So these people are sick in the head, right? They really are. The hate that comes out of the woke brigade, it really gives me cause for concern, because so many people in society seem to be going along with it. They don't see real hate for what it is, right? They go along with it. Blake's father, Travis, got involved when he responded to the following Facebook post by the mother of the son/daughter. It just makes no sense, does it? I'm the mother of the student in question, and my daughter did not make any comments at all. The entire team can back this up. Well, of course they're going to. They don't want to be apostates. They don't want to be heretics. They'll say whatever he tells them to say because he's got all the power. By him going into that locker room and making the girls feel uncomfortable, he's generated all of this power for himself, unearned. Other than the girl that made up the story for attention. No, your son wants the attention. Do you see how dismissive they are of everything that isn't woke? And then they expect your complete obedience in return. This is slander, defamation of character, and we have secured a lawyer. Travis responded, yeah, because you want money. Travis responded, I'm the father of the girl you claim made up the story for attention. The truth is your son watched my daughter and multiple other girls change in the locker room. While he got a free show, they got violated. You think it's fine and dandy. I wonder how you would feel if I watched you undress. Yeah, but she's never thought of that, because as a leftist, they see things as only going in one direction. Yeah. For that transgression, the school officials demanded that Travis apologise. You notice how they never ask her to apologise for suggesting the girl was doing it just for attention. Remember what I said about primary problems and then secondary? They completely ignore it. Like they've got blinkers on. It is literally like they can't see it. And then when the father responds, now it's the father's fault. Now all of a sudden they jump out from nowhere. You need to apologise. It's unbelievable. And just expecting these people to go away, the left, it's not going to happen. They need to be treated in the same manner, in my opinion. Because you're in a culture war. It's just my opinion, but they won't leave you alone. You need to understand that hard fact. So they asked him to apologise, the father of the girl, and ended a contract it had with him as a coach of the girls' soccer team. So they fired him as well for standing up for his own daughter. These people are disgusting. So the ADF claimed in its lawsuit the First Amendment does not countenance this kind of government censorship, where a public school mandates that students and coaches refrain from expressing any view that offends its prescribed views, particularly on an issue as important as whether the school should permit males identifying as girls to undress, shower and change in the girls' locker rooms. Travis and Blake Allen were entitled to express their views on that issue, and in expressing those views, to support them with what is a biological fact, right? That a biological teenage male is indeed male. Shocker, isn't it? This case presents a textbook example of unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination, and the plaintiffs are entitled to all appropriate relief. ADF summed up their argument by requiring Blake Allen to take part in the Inquisition to help her understand the rights of students to access public accommodations, blah blah blah, and submit that reflective essay that meets defendants' own standards in order to avoid additional out-of-school suspension. Defendants are seeking to compel her to speak in violation of the First and 14th Amendments by requiring Travis Allen to issue an apology, a public apology for his statements on the 29th of September on a Facebook post as a condition to be reinstated as a coach. Oh, he's got to issue a public apology in order to be reinstated. Defendants are seeking to compel him to speak in violation of the First and 14th Amendments. This only happens from the left to the right. That they will try to force you to agree with them, and if they don't, they just can't. They can't accept a world where there's at least one person who doesn't march in lockstep. So they're saying, oh, well, you have to do this, that, and the other, and if you don't, you can't come back as a school, a coach. Your daughter is going to get an extra punishment. These people think they're the good guys. That's what gets me. They're not. The state of Vermont has created this problem by its willingness to buy into the current fad, yes. And as they say, conflict is therefore inevitable. It's going to be, because you are trying to force nonsense into reality. Yeah, you're trying to physically will nonsense into being by threatening everyone else and punishing everyone else who doesn't go along with it. So after reviewing that lawsuit, the school officials have backed down. The ADF said shortly after filing the lawsuit, counsel for the school officials notified ADF attorneys that the superintendent was rescinding the disciplinary actions. See, that's very good. It's a small win. However, what I'm concerned about is if that girl is still going to that school, they will make her life hell now. They will not tolerate losing that. And now do you see why they are so hell-bent on ripping up the Constitution? Do you see why now? It's particularly the First Amendment. We as a Western society, Canada, the United States, Britain, France, Sweden, you name it, we have tolerated ourselves into intolerance. Yeah? I'm sure you understand what I mean by that. We've allowed the public sector, the institutions, the mainstream media to be dominated by evil people, selfish, who have all of the negative human traits seem to manifest themselves into leftists. I've noticed. You name it, pick a negative trait. That's not to say right-wing people don't have negative traits. Everyone does. I'm sure I do. But they seem concentrated in the left. Like you know, they say if there's a bad apple, you throw out the apple before it pollutes the orchard. Well, the orchard's polluted. Okay. Anyway, look, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.